Hey, namaste, my friends. Sorry, I am a little late. I had a couple of issues choosing a location this morning. I was going to use this one originally, but there was a couple of people swimming laps this morning, so I tried a different one, which didn't really work out. So anyway, the people who were swimming laps stopped, and so I thought, right, what's the chances that no one comes down in the next half an hour and I get to do chat with Matt, with the pool looking like a mirror and this beautiful. Nice just to include the very top of that roof. Aesthetic eye. For the pool staying free and quiet. So anyway, welcome, 6 a.m. roughly, although I'm probably 5 minutes late by now, here in Chiang Mai, Thailand, northern Thailand. This is chat with Matt, half an hour or so live stream to answer any questions. Had a few comments on the post I put on last night, but that was mainly about the photo that I used, which was me feeding sweet corn to a elephant here in Chiang Mai. Well, it's a little bit out of Chiang Mai. It's called what is the friggin' place called? It's just the nature park or something, isn't it? The nature park, which doesn't really sound like an elephant sanctuary. Or is it Elephant Nature Park? It's the Elephant Nature Park, that's what it's called. The Elephant Nature Park, which has been established for about 30 years. It's an amazing place, started by the founder, a lovely lady goes by the name of Lek, L-E-K. And she has been looking after elephants for over 30 years. Rescuing them, basically. Most of the elephants there, they've got 126 elephants there at the moment. That has grown significantly over the last 4 years. COVID really is a blessing in some ways, but a lot of elephants lost their employment, as did a lot of Thai people, because the Thai country shut down quite significantly, as did many other places, but the Thai economy was hit very hard, especially the tourism industry, of which is how all elephants are now employed in Thailand, because there's no logging anymore, there's no use of elephants in those sorts of manual labour, although many of the elephants there in the refuge had injuries from logging, broken legs, particularly around their ankle or their knee. Many of them also had landmine injuries with foot pads blown off, etc., which is another result of logging, because it happens in those sort of areas where landmines still haven't been cleared from various wars, the Cambodian War and etc. What else was I about to say? Oh, other main injuries are breeding injuries. Unfortunately, most of the elephants there are female. It's very hard to keep male elephants, and male elephants are very hard to purchase because they're worth a lot. Because all of the elephants there in the sanctuary have been purchased, even ones with broken legs, and just about on their deathbed, people still want money for them. Malnourished, broken elephants, basically. It's a pretty hard place to visit in terms of most of the elephants there, other than a few, have come with horrific stories. Many of them have broken hips from being forcefully mated, basically raped, because baby elephants are worth a lot of money to the circuses. Many of them have mental trauma as well. Elephants are very, very social creatures, and being kept in chains away from other elephants, tortured with various devices to make them behave for elephant riding, etc. Incredibly hard on the elephants mentally and emotionally, socially, spiritually. So it's amazing to be around elephants. It's kind of been like with whales. They're all horses to some degree, but it's also very sad the condition a lot of these elephants are in, but amazingly inspirational, the efforts that they're going to at this particular sanctuary called the Elephant Nature Park. Because just down the road they're still riding elephants, and just over the river they're still going and all washing the elephants, basically forcefully. The elephants are forced to go for a wash because tourists want to wash them. None of that happens there at the nature park. Most people who go don't even get to feed the elephants or get that as close as we were to the elephants. We were fortunate that we basically spent a lot more money to stay overnight there, and most of that money that you spend is basically to feed 126 elephants. They have 4,000 animals there in total, including 800 dogs that they've rescued from various situations here, some from the dog meat trade, some because they've been hit by cars or abused in some ways, some because their owners couldn't handle them. There's some big dogs there as well, Rottweilers and pit bulls and stuff, guard dogs that got too out of hand for their owners. They take them in. They have 2,000 cats. They have ex-racehorses. They have pigs that they rescued from the slaughterhouse because the truck overturned on the way there. They have a huge menagerie of animals that this organisation, basically, which is a full-on humanitarian organisation. All of the meals served there are vegan. All of their efforts are amazing. They have 400 employees because every elephant has at least one handler, a special person basically, who spends pretty much all day with them, making sure that they're okay. There are not many fences, so the elephants, a lot of the elephants are roaming, but their handler keeps them in specific areas to avoid conflicts. You can imagine with 126 elephants, there are certain elephants that don't get on so well, especially considering some of these elephants have come from abusive situations and have their own issues. Some of them are kept away from people, obviously, because they don't want to see people anymore. So yeah, it's amazingly well run, and it was an amazing experience. And if you're here in Thailand, specifically in Chiang Mai, and you want to support an elephant experience, because it is beautiful to be with the elephants, but to support an experience that is fair dinkum, then I encourage you to look up the Elephant Nature Park. And if you're unsure, then this one was founded by a lady called Lek, L-E-K, who is still there, hands-on, was still riding a bicycle around. She's 65 now. She's the head of a huge organisation, but she spends most of her time hands-on, checking on elephants that have just come in, making sure they're getting the diet they need, nursing elephants that are getting close to passing, etc., etc., which we saw firsthand. That was what she was doing. So they also train vets there. A lot of vets come through from different parts of Asia to learn more about elephant care. All sorts of amazing things going on. Anywho's, it's Chat with Matt. How can I help you guys? I'm here to answer any questions, talk to any requests, rather than just blab on about my life. It was an amazing experience though. We were there for the last 2 days. We came back here to Chiang Mai to this resort hotel that's in the old city last night, and we're both exhausted. Not that we'd done a lot of physical activity, or it's not that we didn't get a good night's sleep there. We did. I think it's just the emotional energy and the spiritual energy transformation that was going on in both directions. All these elephant interactions that we had, especially going behind the scenes, and seeing some of the elephants that are a little bit further out, kept up the hill, etc., was amazing. And just interacting with each of them, heart to heart, was also amazing, but energetically full on. So that's my state of being this morning. I've woken up this morning feeling still a little bit exhausted, but yeah, we've got work to do. The day before we went to the Elephant Sanctuary, we were checking out the venue that we're planning to use either next year or the year after. We're just not sure of what dates we can put all of this together in. We've got to juggle with the weather here in Thailand. We've got to juggle with our own schedule. We've got to juggle with availability at our chosen retreat venue. Now that we're very satisfied that the Elephant Nature Park is the place to take people that would come here on retreat with us, we've got to set together and make sure all the other excursions we're going to do is going to be top notch. We visited hot springs, would you believe? Hot springs here, even though it's quite hot, and the water was very hot. But it's quite close to the retreat venue, and probably something we would do one evening or something like that, along with a lot of other potential excursions and experiences there. They do at the retreat venue. They do some other experiences, cultural experiences and health experiences. They do ice baths there as well. And they have a more of a traditional type of sweat lodge. All sorts of interesting things to do, not just spend time with the elephants, as we have experienced. There's only so long you can spend with the elephants when your heart is open, without needing time to integrate. So yoga and meditation, perfect vessel to complement elephant experience, of course, and that's what we intend to do. So that's our mission for being here in Chiang Mai. That's what we came here specifically to do. Come the weekend, we're heading to Croatia, because the weekend after, less than 2 weeks away, we're hosting a retreat in Croatia, in the island of Brač. So you're up to date with my life. What about you guys? How can I help? No one's commented anything, so I have a feeling the comments aren't coming through on my phone, and I don't have my computer with me, so hopefully me doing a few swipes. Hey, there comes one from Debbie Love. Happy Tuesday to you, Matt. Hey, is it only Tuesday? Have I come a day early? No, I'm sure it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday for me, isn't it? Wednesday for you too? Are you drunk, Deb? I'm sure it's Wednesday in New Zealand. But anyway, you're hosting 153 animals in Levin. Oh, awesome, Deb. I didn't know you're on the move down there. Deb's obviously in a place, because now she's checking what day it is. I'm sure it's Wednesday in New Zealand, but I could be wrong. Yeah, it is a beautiful experience, Teresa. They are amazingly beautiful souls. Most of the animal handlers, interesting, are from Myanmar. They're refugees basically from Myanmar. Thai people aren't so interested in that job. It is a massive undertaking. When you become one of the handlers for the elephants, you'll basically spend most of your life with that elephant, and that can be a long investment of time. Some of these elephants who are there are in their 90s age, so they do live in captivity for a long time, even in harsh conditions, and some of them there are only in their 30s, so potentially have 60 more years of life. Although most of the young elephants that are there are significantly injured, because no one really wants to give their elephant up to a sanctuary, even for some payment, if they've still got a lot of life in them, because they can make money with them. Basically, the tourists are still very happy here to ride elephants. Most of the people riding elephants are Asian, and not to be racist, but they just haven't got the same level of education, or educated in the same way that Westerners have now to animal sort of cruelty, etc., and the non-desire to abuse animals like elephants anymore, although we're still happy to abuse other animals, but that's a different story. But the Asian tourist market here in Thailand and in Vietnam and places like this is still huge. It's still a huge part of their tourism, is having Chinese come, or people from other parts of Asia come here for their vacations. As the wealth is increasing in Asia, Asians are starting to travel. Indians are travelling as well as their economy increases, and so seeing a lot more of what, it's not really domestic tourism, but continental tourism here in places like Thailand and Vietnam. But anywho's, I'm digressing a lot. Anyway, M wrote, "Hey Matt, feeling so low energy here, just listening in." It is Wednesday there. Yeah, thanks, M. I'm glad I'm not going crazy. Yeah, we're definitely holding space for people feeling low energy. I believe there's still a lot happening. We did just have full moon when I say just, I can't actually remember when that was, but I think it was just the weekend that's gone, right? It was Buddha's birthday. I was still in Vietnam, so it was a while ago. Wesak. It doesn't feel like that long ago. Anyway, it's a very loud motorbike starting up just across the road. Yeah, there's plenty of energy shifting. Just checking what insects are crawling on me. There is plenty of energy shifting, and so I encourage everyone to be in allowance or in acceptance of states of what you might call tiredness or low energy. It is pretty common right now, and it's not necessarily bad. It's definitely not you failing or quote unquote getting sick, although there is potential for states of biological ill health to accompany this. There's a lot of purification going on at the moment. It's not uncommon to quote unquote have a cold or have some gastric discomfort along with states of feeling fatigued or tired or emotionally out of sorts or mentally not motivated or feeling ungrounded or not present, or that you don't belong, feeling quote unquote weird. Yeah, Wesak was a good purification, Teresa. We had just finished retreat and then went and spent time at some significant Buddhist temples just out of Hoi An, out of Da Nang, which is the sort of economic centre close to Hoi An in Vietnam, which was interesting timing. All of the monks were doing ceremonies. They were washing, bathing one of the big Buddha statues in their temple halfway up the mountain. So yeah, it was high energy there as well. And of course a lot of, again, domestic tourists there because it was a significant day of Buddhism. And of course Vietnam is about 70% Buddhist, and here in Thailand, of course, it's pretty much 100% Buddhist, although 100% is a stupid number to ever tout out, but yeah, mainly Buddhist. And Buddhism's a big part of their life. Amazing opportunities to be a blessing for the planet and to work as a conduit, as we do. And I guess I could talk a little bit about that. A lot of us feeling, just watching a squirrel run across the power lines. A lot of people are feeling lack of purpose, or unsure of their purpose, or feeling desire for more purpose. A lot of people looking for meaning, more meaning in their lives, right? A lot of people are waking up. I was talking to, there was two other couples who came on and did this sort of overnight experience at the Elephant Sanctuary with us. One couple was Australian, from Sydney, I could relate to, a bit younger than us, but another couple was from Liverpool in London, or maybe Liverpool's not in London, but England anyway. But interesting talking to both of them as to why they're travelling now and what they're going on in their lives, because they're younger, pre-children, etc. And just them sort of talking about, really sort of waking up to the idea that there's much more to life than, getting ahead on the consumer bandwagon that we've been educated into, getting better jobs, more money, a house, having children, etc., right? Doing all of the things that you are quote unquote supposed to in order to be a good, right, proper, successful human in our society. And they're sort of, waking up to looking for more, and part of their search is through travel, right? Having extended travel. Both the couples, this is the first time that they had travelled, not as a vacation but as an experience, which is another interesting distinction. A lot of people go on vacation for their 2 weeks a year or whatever, and they might travel to a destination, but they don't really travel. They don't really get out and interact with the locals. They don't really immerse themselves in the culture and the energy of a place. They stay in a resort next to a pool. They have experience. They might do a few excursions out, and etc. But they don't really get into the environment. They maintain a level of safety, and I understand they have to. They're on vacation, which is them basically resting from their working life, so that they need to just take it easy. They need to just eat good food, sleep more, maybe get some massages, etc. Because that's what their body and their mind requires, a time of rest. But when you go travelling and you basically start moving around and you're not living that life of just resting, then you have different experiences. It's a different experience of being in a different culture when you are there with an intent to learn more, experience more, not just learn more intellectually, but experience more through your heart, the culture that you are visiting. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a human culture. It can be wildlife experiences, it can be nature experiences, but the energy of places and spaces that further expands your experience in this lifetime as a human existing on the planet by having other experiences, different experiences moving around. It doesn't need to be overseas either. I don't want to make out there's only one way to do this. There's infinite ways to do everything. That's the point. But I can't remember where I was going with all of this. Integrating, it's a great time to be of service. That's right. Part of being of service, I think, on the planet, part of finding a purpose to be here alive right now is recognizing that we're all in service. Those of us who hold an intentional desire to be conduits, right? To basically interact energetically, to allow energies to flow through us, to transmit energies from the earth to the atmosphere, in society as well, to hold space for healing, as we walk through the world, to interact with people and animals and environments with empathy, not necessarily falling into distress through sympathy, which is sometimes difficult, as I experienced yesterday, the difficulty of staying empathic with these beautiful elephants, most of which had very, very traumatic experiences in their past. Many of them are carrying the scars physically and mentally. There's elephants there who won't walk around because they think they're still chained up, even though there's no chains. A lot of them there still want to dance every time people come past, because that's how they've been trained to be rewarded through decades of life in the circus. But while all of that can invoke sadness and grief and even anger inside of us, and a sense of hopelessness that people are so cruel in so many ways, etc., etc., and why aren't more people helping, and why are people still doing this? All of that stuff going on. But ultimately, if you can hold a space of empathy, if you can hold a space of open-heartedness, you can be part of the solution energetically, if not, externally, with your finances, with your ability to communicate to other people, to share stories, with your ability to lend a helping hand. We spend an hour chopping food for these elephants, which is just a blip when you consider that there's truckloads, literally truckloads coming in, truckloads of watermelon, truckloads of sweet corn, multiple truckloads of greenery and stuff. You can imagine an elephant basically eats between 5 and 10% of its body weight every day, and they have 126 elephants ranging in weight from, I guess the smallest ones are half a ton, the babies, through to 5.5 ton, the bull elephants. So add that up, take an average of say 3 ton for elephants, multiplied by 126, divided by 10, to get how many tons of food is consumed there every day. And many of these elephants are elderly now with very poor teeth and need special diets. The watermelons are peeled for them. All of this sort of amazing effort. They cook a huge amount of rice because a lot of these elephants need that sort of nutrition. These are not wild elephants. None of these elephants have come from the wild. All of them have been bred in captivity. A few have been born there, but they don't actively breed the elephants there because they don't have enough room. In the early days, a few elephants were born there through natural selection, which again is an amazing opportunity for elephants because most of them don't get that opportunity. They're forcefully bred like horses, which again is traumatic. And a lot of the cows, a lot of the female elephants, are traumatized through that process and physically hurt. A lot of them have broken hips through being forcefully mated so many times. Anywho's, I've spoken enough about elephants. What I was trying to say is we all have an opportunity to be of service here on the planet, basically through being intentionally present with the experiences that we're in and intentionally a conduit of energy. You don't need to, and some people are saying, but I don't know how to be a conduit of energy. There really is no secret. It is an intention. If you choose to be in your heart a conduit of energy, then you can rest assured that you're being a conduit of energy. At first, being a conduit of energy is potentially not very pleasant as your energy channels are cleared out, right? Energy coming through is going to push out the whatever gunk you could call it, and that's happening naturally anyway. All of us are ascending here on the planet who have a intention to be conscious, which if you're watching this you are. So the point is you don't need to try hard, and I'm encouraging people not to get too caught up in I don't know what my purpose is, and I don't know how to be a conduit of energy, I don't know how to make a difference. Just hold an intention that you're making a difference. Hold an intention that every time you smile at a person you make a massive difference. Hold an intention that every time you look to any creature or living being, be it vegetation or whatnot, with the eyes of blessing that being, then you are. And the more faith you have in your power as a conduit of energy, then the more effective you will be. And I know that you can dance with thinking that you're deluded and thinking you're so powerful. Oh my God, I think that was a bug. At first I thought it was some form of hummingbird, but then I know there's no hummingbirds, but there are sunbirds here who fly a little bit like hummingbirds, but I'm pretty sure that was a massive beetle, something around about the size of my fist, that just flew several meters over my head. Anyways, yes, a lot of people are worried that they're being delusional or they're being egotistical, thinking that they have power to change things just with their thoughts or just with their intent. That's a powerful program that's been well indoctrinated into many of us of spiritual intent or energetic capacity to keep us small and ineffective and impotent. So I'd encourage you to get past this fear of being egotistical and thinking that you make a difference with your thoughts and your intentions. It's certainly not being egotistical. In fact, some would claim, well, we could make a point that it's actually the ego that's keeping you small. It's egotistical behavior that thinks that you don't make a difference, rather than it's egotistical to think that you do, right? We can definitely put the shoe on the other foot and turn a lot of this stuff around that we've been educated into. As you start to develop some awareness, you will see I've got all this sticky rice stuck in my mala. I just noticed from mixing the elephant cake yesterday. We made a cake for 2 older elephants because people had donated money through the website to do so. What people do is an awesome idea, is you can buy a cake for the elephants and then they film the giving of the cake to the elephants, and then send you the film. So you can buy an elephant cake for someone who's having a birthday. They don't get to experience the cake themselves, but they get to watch the video of the elephants eating the cake that was made for them, for the elephants, in their name, based on the money that someone donated in your name as your birthday gift. And then you get the video to watch of the elephants enjoying the cake, which is pretty quick. The elephants hook into these quote-unquote cakes pretty quickly. The cake that we made was sticky rice mashed with banana and sweet corn off the cob, and then surrounded by watermelon and cucumber chopped up. We chopped up all the watermelon and the cucumber. We fashioned the cake, which was, you know, like about 10 to 12 kilos of sticky rice and squashed up bananas, which we mixed with our hands, hence me finding the residues all over my marl around my wrist, and then shaped it into an elephant on the board, and then surrounded that with cucumber and watermelon around the edge, and a couple of cut up mangoes for highlights, and then we carried it off. The three of us boys carried it off into the elephant area, and two of these old matriarchs, very old grandmas in their 90s, with very poor teeth. One of them, as I said, had a broken hip from force mating. The other one was blind. Many of the elephants there are blind through various reasons. They're a lot older than they would if they lived in their natural environment, so naturally cataracts are an issue, but a lot of that has been accentuated through flash photography, bright lights in the circus. Some of them have walked on the beach where the glare off the water really creates problems with their eyes. Some of them have been slingshotted. Some of them have been hooked, and it's caught their eye as they've been disciplined. A lot of them have been beaten significantly to keep them in line when they didn't want to perform, didn't want to work in the logging forests, etc. So I've digressed many times. But yes, be a blessing in the world, my friends. Choose to believe, choose not to get down on yourself that you don't make a difference, that you can't make a difference, that there's nothing you can do to change the world. Let go of that program. It's false, definitely false, but definitely a powerful program. It does take quite a bit of intentional work to slowly peel it away. You know, I still feel that I'm not doing enough, that you know, I'm not spending my life as I quote unquote should or could. But ultimately we have to get past all that. Sorry, I've missed a ton of comments probably. Deb said, I have family here and I'm here because of family situation. It hasn't been an easy time. The animals help. Yeah, exactly. Deb, definitely holding space for you. I had an endoscopy yesterday. Feels like excavating their childhood anxiety. Gut. Glad to get it out. Oh, definitely holding it for you. Space for you, Em. Susie said, hi Matt, I remember their energy very strongly when I was there. It's awesome. Susie also said, we sponsored 3 elephants for a year after we visited and still have the hand-carved elephants from there. She's, for some reason, it's dropped out. And it's not giving me the option to see more. But basically, the handlers who don't get paid very much dedicated their life to looking after the elephant. They can make a little extra money by carving their elephant out of wood. So many of them, while they're sitting around looking after their elephant, carve these little elephants, and then they're sold. And they get 100% of the proceeds. We actually bought one yesterday from the elephant we really loved, that we saw up on the hill. And the look in the eye of the handler was amazing when he received that money, because it makes a lot of difference to them and their families. A lot of them are supporting their, families, and a lot of them are very grateful to have that job and feel very blessed. As I said earlier, most of the handlers are from Myanmar, refugees basically escaping the war there or the atrocities there. Anyway, Teresa, we were talking the other day about fractals and how even if we only help one person or one animal, the effect is, whoops. Sorry. Right, I got it back. Sorry. I tried to see more and then I hit the wrong button, which is right next to the see more button. Can I scroll that up? Yeah, I can scroll that up so I don't do the same thing again. Is magnified through the fractal nature of the universe. So you can really bless the universe even by helping one person or animal to be better in themselves. Exactly, Teresa. I think that's, they talk about, the butterfly flapping its wings in the Amazon, creating an avalanche in the Himalayas or whatever, right? That there's this correlation. Everything is interconnected through this creation that we're experiencing, in our group. We've been talking about the illusory nature of reality and why that's a good thing, not something to be dismayed about. The fact that we're all living in our own reality, this is all just a dream, it's all just an illusion. Seems like, oh, what's the point then? No, the point is that this reality is easily influenced, much more easily influenced than you believe, and the reality that you're living is basically coming through your filters, and if you're prepared to change your perspective, then you change your reality that you're living in. And all of our realities are also interconnected. So while we're all living our own individual experience, we're all living an individual experience that's influencing everyone else's individual experience. So the reasoning is that if you up-level your experience through changing your perspective in an empowered way, then you basically influence everyone else to do the same or to have a more expansive experience. So you are being a blessing by improving your situation, by changing your mentality. So if you follow that logic, there is a lot of purpose in you living your best life. And living our best life for most of us as heartfelt people on the planet is helping others, not in a disempowered, people-pleasing way, but in an empathic, heartfelt, expansive way. And that could be as much as picking, an insect up and putting it somewhere where it's safe. It might be even dying, right? A dying butterfly, just put it somewhere where it's out of the sun so that it can spend its last few hours a little bit more comfortably. Don't underestimate those acts of compassion and how much that influences the whole planet, right? The whole universe. When you open your heart and do something nice for something, even the smallest of creatures that, science doesn't even believe they have feelings, you are blessing the whole planet, right? You're blessing the whole of creation, more than just this planet, right? We're all interconnected, the whole universe. And so, as Teresa's pointed out, I've been talking about this idea of the fractal nature, the fact that we are individuations of God's source universe, but we're a fractal individuation. That means that the whole is contained within the fragment, right? A fractal, if you break a fractal, then each fragment, you can see the whole within it, but it was only a part of what was whole. And that's the thing. There's reoccurring patterns in everything, and we actually have templates for everything within our energetic self. It's a hard concept to actually get your head around because of the enormity of what we consider the universe. But anyway, the more that we recognize that we have the capacity to help, and that we're not impotent, and we're not insignificant, and we're not hopeless and useless, and we're not that we are failing to do enough. When you basically reclaim some of your confidence to know that you are walking the planet as a blessing, no matter where you are and what you're doing, you might be going through the most inanely boring routine day after day, going to the same factory, doing the same job, but when you choose to do it as a blessing, and anything you get to bless on the way to and from work or while you're at work is significant, then you can start living a much more empowered experience. And as you do that, you actually gain more power to influence more things, because when what you appreciates what you recognize, you focus on, and what you focus on you feed, and what you feed will grow stronger, right? When you appreciate you have the capacity to help others in all sorts of ways, just with your thoughts and with your intent and with your feeling and with your heart, then so it is, right? And when you think you have no power and that it's all hopeless and the world's fucked and everything's useless and what the point, then that's basically the experience you have, and you don't do nearly as much good in the world because you are being part of the problem, not part of the solution. So Anyway, I'm probably gone well over time just for a change, but that's been my 10 cents this morning, talking about elephants, talking about travel, talking about being a blessing in the world, and why you can be too. Susie said, beautiful Matt, well put. We need to trust that our intentions have the power to change. Yeah, exactly. And that's the last comment, so that's perfect. Much love, my friends. Namaste. I intend to be with you next week from Croatia, the island of Brač, where we'll be getting ready for our retreat that will start next week. And yeah, if you have any questions, comments or concerns, reach out. I do have time if you need to talk with me personally for the rest of the next few days anyway. We're pretty much staying put here in Chiang Mai. I'll be visiting more Buddhist temples. I did have an amazing experience in a Buddhist temple the other night here in Chiang Mai. I just wandered into one. We were at the night markets and I wandered into one where there were some prayers going on and just sat down and really connected very strongly with my Buddhist past, e.g. past lives. That was quite a moving experience, and I intend to give myself the opportunity to have more such experiences while I'm here. In the old town centre of Chiang Mai, which is where we're staying, there are many amazingly beautiful Buddhist temples, and I intend to visit some more of those in amongst working to get our sales page for our next retreat done and all of the details sorted out. So a bit of combined life. We're trying to work a lifestyle here where we don't need a holiday from our work and we don't need to, quote unquote, sacrifice ourselves to go to work to support our lifestyle. It's all just one and the same, and it's all supportive and nurturing and uplifting and beautiful. That's the intent that we are holding as we move around the world doing what we do. Anyway, you can do the same, and it doesn't mean that you have to emulate our life of travel. It can be a similar thing wherever you are doing whatever, but it's developing a life where you are not sacrificing yourself in order to live, and that you don't basically need to holiday from the sacrifice. It all just becomes part of living. And living becomes joyful in all ways. Anyway, my friends, much love. I'm going to probably have a swim and then go to breakfast somewhere. Marie's been teaching yoga classes while I'm doing this. She's found a lovely little garden down on the other side of that building behind me. So hopefully that's gone well for her. Much love. Bye for now.